Good day everybody, RagingRaptor here. Today we are going to have another look at two more tanks which got added in the 1.6 update and which are right now, well, basically being tested for the super testers. Those are the T54E2, an American Tier 8 premium heavy tank, as well as the A43 Black Prince, which is your Tier 6 British heavy tank. And as you might already see from the looks of it, this is basically a down-tiered Black Prince. And this one over here is hard to say what it really is. It kind of looks like a T95E6 turret on an M48 pattern chassis. And it has a pretty tough turret, if I have to say so myself. If you look at a tank like the T54E2, at the T59, T95E4, you will see, E6, excuse me, you will see that the cupola is way weaker on the tier 10 vehicle than it is on this one right here. Probably balancing, probably making this tank actually appealing as a whole down tank. I should have already had a look at both of those tanks' stats, so I suggest to go watch that video and you will see what we have over there. So now let's just straight jump into the armor models of those two tanks. Well, the T54E2 is your tier 8 heavy tank of the American Tech Tree, and you can see it, well, basically it really follows that mantra of, well, tough turret and a little bit of a meh hull. The hull is not entirely garbage, but it's definitely not that strong. As you can see, some parts over here are rather weakish, with being 120 millimeters thick, and over here with 163 millimeters of thickness. The lip over here is also just 200 millimeters thick, so yeah, side armor 50.8 millimeters. It's a standardized M48 pattern hull, if I'm not mistaken, and this part over here 57 millimeters thick, yeah. Body armor, none really well, so we have to watch out for that one. But what is great about this tank, and you can see it already with all the red over here, is the turret. The turret is around 250 millimeters thick, except for the cupola, which is 190 millimeters thick. So this is a huge plus. I don't really know if this tank will be able to replace the T34, but it definitely can come close. The big problem is the T34 has a definitely much weaker cupola. This tank, however, has definitely a decent gun and a decent mobility. You can see it here, 45 kilometers per hour. And the gun, sadly enough, only deals 390 alpha, but when it comes to American Tier 8 premium heavies, it's one with a better penetration rate, so that's pretty nifty, I would say. Anyway, you can see the turret is rather thick. This part over here is 182 millimeters, but it shouldn't be a big deal because in the end you will most likely play this tank in a hold down position. With being able to have 10 degrees of gun depression, that's pretty bonkers and that's pretty good. Even this part over here, which could look like a weak spot like it used to be on a T29, if I'm not mistaken, is not. It's 250 millimeters thick. That is huge. This part over here, however, looks a little bit weak-ish because when you are going to shoot HE at that part over there. Lower here, I don't see anything really hard. You can penetrate here with gold ammunition. Tier 10 tanks can penetrate over here when they hit flat on. But if we have a look from the side, you can see it is in an angle. It looks kind of thick, yeah. So it might be pretty darn hard to hit, nevertheless. Roof, all looks good, except for this part over here, which is 30 millimeters thick, but it suffices to say that it's very hard to hit. Artillery, however, might have fun to disassemble this tank. Like, that is my personal biggest concern. You can see even the back is 38, 25, this is 40 millimeters, so RT will love this tank because it's just way too weak. The turret side armor is actually also surprisingly strong with 160 millimeters on the left side and 140 to 120 millimeters on the right hand side. So against lower tiered opponents, this tank can still bounce shots from the side. I am not entirely happy about the cupola, which is just 190 millimeters thick, meaning lower tiered opponents have issues penetrating, but other than that, I'd say it looks pretty darn good. We should not forget it has still weak side armor. There are no spaced armor like the S-Cock has, and the cupola is still very big, and I think with gold ammunition you should still be able to penetrate this if you aim and hit it properly. Don't forget, usually you can also hit this slot over here, which is 170 millimeters thick, and this one, which is 110 millimeters thick, because you're looking from the tank from below. And you can see over here, we actually have a decent chunk of ability to hit this tank and penetrate him frontally. The gun mantlet also looks pretty nifty with decent chunk of armor. You can see even here the gun mantlet, or the gun itself, is going over the gun mantlet, which is great. If we disassemble the gun mantlet, we still have some armor over here, a big chunk of armor over there, and a big chunk of armor over there. But still we have a slot which is, well, 0 armor, but there we have 90 millimeters armor. So I am certain to say, yeah, like, the gun mantlet looks pretty darn good. So the gun mantlet will be definitely the strongest suit of this tank. And I think for its mobility, if I'm again not mistaken, which is decent, when we go here in engine, it has, where is it? General. Let's just look general. I'm not entirely sure how good this is. With 16.1 HP to ton ratio and a 45 kilometers per hour top speed, this will be a decent heavium. Like, it's a decent tier 8 heavium for the American tech tree. So I'm looking forward to this tank. The other tank, which you're going to have a look at, is the A43 Black Prince, and you might have already seen it. It is a down-tiered Black Prince, except that the turret is weaker. The turret is not your 203 millimeters thick, if I'm not mistaken. It is just, give me a second, it's just 152 millimeters thick. Just have to quickly find Mr. Black Prince. It's over here. And yeah, it's 240 millimeters thick. Well, there we have some parts which are 152 millimeters, but in general, the Black Prince turret will be much stronger. The interesting part, however, comes when we are going to compare this tank to its brethren, the Churchill 7, excuse me. Because the Churchill 7 lacks a little bit under the problem. Well, it is smaller. They have roughly the same armor. Why is it not working? Apparently, Game Model 3D doesn't really like when we have two of the same two pictures running at the same time. You can see it's 152 millimeters there, 57 there, 57 there, 152 millimeters there, lower plate 139, 139. So basically, when it comes to the armor of the hull, it's exactly the same. Except the Churchill 7 is a little bit more, how should we say it? It dislikes RT more because this is just 90 millimeters thick and this is 25 millimeters thick. The side armors are equally thick. You can see we have here 95 millimeters and back there another 82 millimeters. So still looks pretty good. So the armor basically is the same. The side turret, however, the Churchill 7 gets the cake. But when it comes to gun mantlet, I'd say that the A43 Black Prince is a tiny touch better. Yes, this tank has those thick cheeks over here, which are thicker in general. And you can see this is 152 millimeters thick. And you can see here it's 152 millimeters thick. And the gun mantlet is 152 millimeters thick for most parts. Still, my thing is that the A43 Black Prince will have a lot better time than the Churchill 7, and this is something quite frustrating for the Churchill 7. When you go on the gun stats of the Churchill 7, you will see that with the top turret has 70 degrees of gun depression. It's decent, but sadly enough, the A43 Black Prince got 8 degrees. So we are slightly ahead there. Like, the Churchill 7 is a little bit, excuse me, I might even have to take the proper turret. I think with the proper turret, it's worse. Oh my god, yeah, there we go. I was preparing this and then was like, wait, why is it just 7 now? With the stock turret on the Churchill 7, you have worse armor on the turret, but you have 7 degrees of gun depression. With the top turret on the Churchill 7, you got quite the problem at your hands, because you just have 4 degrees of gun depression, which is half of what the Black Prince will have. So in general, I'm confident in saying that the A43 Black Prince prototype is much more convenient to play. Not only does it have equal armor, maybe the cupola is slightly weaker because it's bigger, but other than that, you have so much more. Like, again, you have 8 degrees of gun depression with this tank, which is superb. Like, you will have a lot more fun than with the Churchill 7, and that's, I think, a fact. I can't say it else. I'm just going to quickly have a watch at the Churchill 7 in here on tanks.gg because I'm still a little bit more. Yeah, you can see it's just 7 degrees of gun depression. Ah, this has to be frustrating. Yeah, this has to be pretty darn frustrating in my eyes, at least. Let's see if they also have the A43 Black Prince. Is the sadly the armor model is not working. What about the visual? Oh, the visual model is actually working, and you can see this tank has 8 degrees of gun depression. This is huge. This is a huge difference when we have now here the visual model. And yeah, that's gotta hurt. Like, seriously, this is not fun to play when you have just 4 degrees of gun depression. Every single little tiny touch of, well, terrain will fuck you over. With this tank, you can play fine, hold down. You can use 8 degrees of gun depression. It's very comfortable. It's not 10 degrees, but it's good enough. Like, it's genuinely good enough. So yeah, the A43 Black Prince might be better than the Churchill 7. The Churchill 7, however, has for its going that it is tinier and is more compact. And about the stats, I'm not entirely sure. We can quickly have a look here, looky, when I have to find it. Oh wait, I have to do this, obviously. Just quickly skimming over it to... Yeah, the Churchill 7 has a lot better DPM. So that's what it's going for. It says the Churchill 7 has a lot better DPM, but the Black Prince has a slightly better gun when it's fully upgraded. Excuse me. Wait, what did I do now? What? I'm stupid. I don't know. Why I'm doing that? I'm tired. I should go to bed. But anyway, I guess that's it. Those are 2 more tanks which got added to update 1.6 test server. I'm not going to review the British lights because they're lights. There's no really point in it. But yeah, if you like this video, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll keep you updated with different and other videos and other tanks which come to the test servers when a new test server is coming. Nevertheless, 1.6 I think will be coming around mid-August maybe. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers. If you liked the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. I love feedback. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We are ever so slightly and slowly getting closer and closer to the 10K mark, even though we are still not even halfway there. But that would be amazeballs, would be amazing. And yeah, cheers guys.